engineering is considered one of the most crucial industries in this world. It is crucial and necessary for sustainability and development, for advancement in human life. But with uncertainty in the economy, one isn't sure where your business or industry is going to go and what can lead to that and where advancements are possible. And with that, humans are the backbones of every business. And as social beings, we despise change. We get comfortable and familiarize ourselves with who we work with, where we work with, and our relationships that we build with them. And as a company, or as individuals, we are very uncomfortable with losing our colleagues and are extremely uncomfortable with losing our businesses. And with that, we only hope for the best, but we have to expect the worst. With the current situation of your company, we have realized that there are certain challenges with capital. But from our standpoint, the solution that we have created, we believe that TCE can be one of the global leaders and will excel in your industry and will be the top competitors. Thank you for having us. My name is Gershon Desi. This is Anshuman Bashista and Yu Tsushima, and we comprise of Future Tech. So we've understood that one of the primary issues is your company is running out of cash, and there's about 2 months in which you need to sort out what's going to happen with that and how much you have and what you can do within those 2 months. And with that running out of, with the 2 months and running out of cash, some secondary issues we have are employee allocation and what you're going to do with your employees. Are you going to lay them off? Are you going to consider job sharing? And with that, where's the knowledge that's going to be retained, and how are you going to use that to grow? Another one is project delay. So if there's jobs being laid off or job sharing, how long are the projects going to be delayed by, and who do we pass it on to? And we really don't want your clients to be passing on their projects to other competitors. So some situational analysis is that there is an urgent human resources issue in which you are considering laying off 85 employees, 43 of them being senior managers, and the other 40 being either consultants or engineers and whatnot. And with that, this is being considered as an option due to a lack of cash. And there's strong expertise in these employees, and it is probably not the best option to get rid of them. And with that, this critical insights, what are the best options for you? There's a loss of competitive advantage in which projects are being delayed, and there's knowledge that needs to be retained, and in what forms that can be done. So there's an anticipated downturn for 8 years in the engineering business and engineering industry, and there are multiple global competitors that are doing considerably well. SNC-Lavalin is being one of the top competitors of your company, and they're taking on some of the larger projects. And the critical insights for this is a differentiation by meeting key success factors. Cost being one of the most important ones, and expertise, in which we don't believe laying off your employees is one of the best options. And with that, the employees do have certain relationships with clients, and word of mouth is pretty strong. Flexibility and communication are also strong key success factors in the engineering industry.
So considering the options, as you mentioned, one of the options is to lay off 85 employees, as 23 JSP senior managers and 20 TC senior managers and 42 other employees. And although you mentioned that in this case you also consider to do the knowledge management, if you take that option, we consider that it is not feasible that you retain the knowledge in 2 weeks while you're telling them that you will be laid off in 2 weeks. So we think that we didn't include the knowledge management simply because it is not feasible. And the benefit of this option is that it is obviously a lot of cost cutting, so it will save you to have extra cash in the really short term. However, we see the various cons as, so firstly you will lose the knowledge, which is your competitive advantage. If you lose knowledge, you can't, and we understand that you have a project delay, but you will have the high risk of even delaying more for the project by cutting the employees, and you will lose the expert in knowledge, which we don't think that you can win the competition. And also you have to manage the negative brand reputation. If you lay off 85 employees within 2 weeks, you will lose the relationship with the not only with the employees but also with the client by further delaying their project. So the key takeaway of this option is that it will create a problem in the future project. So option 2 is that because your primary issue is the lack of cash, so we thought that maybe the option that you can negotiate with your client to pay the payment in advance with the incentive of the discount. So that way you could have some cash that you could use for the project, so you do not have to lay off the employees immediately. So the pros are that you could receive the payment in advance, so you'll have more cash to use, and you could keep the employees, and you could continue working on the 8 projects that you're currently doing. However, we see lots of risk and downside as well. So first of all, because you're offering the discount as an incentive to pay ahead, you'll have the losing profit. And our largest concern is that because you didn't include that option in the contract, so the contract may restrict that option, or the clients may not agree. If clients say no, we can't pay ahead even though you offer a cheap price, then this whole option won't work. So if you don't have any control, and this option is totally up to your client's decision, that's the downside. So we think that the key takeaway of this option is that the outcome is totally unpredictable, and it's totally up to your client if they will accept this offer or not. And option 3 is that in order to deal with the lack of cash and in order not to lay off the employees, we think that the job sharing is another option. In this case, we think that while doing the job sharing, I think you will be able to also implement the knowledge management system for the long run. So our recommendation, third option is that knowledge management and job sharing, and you want to consider establishing the basic knowledge management system because it will be helpful for your future project. And we think that job sharing for 4 months with the 85 employees who you were originally planning to lay off is a really good option. And after doing the job sharing and dealing with the lack of cash, then you could later you could focus on the Baku and Lima project that you are expecting the 6 months delay. So the positive side of this option is that you could keep all the employees and you could keep all of their knowledge, and also it is create a positive brand image. You can maintain the positive brand image by not laying off any employees while you're showing the effort that you could maintain the relationship, and also you could cut the cost by doing the job sharing. So you're originally expecting the 2 months, like within 2 months, if you don't lay off anyone, you will run out of the cash in 2 months. But by job sharing, you could delay that running out of cash in 4 months. And so you could show the effort for the no future delays, and the knowledge is retained. And the downside of this is that we acknowledge that it does not save the maximum money in the short run, because if you lay off all the employees, obviously it's the cheapest option. However, we consider that it's not the best option as described before. And also the resistance from the employees by job sharing. However, we think that this is, of course, it's not the best scenario for your company and your employee. However, while experiencing the downturn, we think that this is the inevitable risk, downside that we have to think. So this option, two key takeaways, that we could create some excess cash while knowledge is retained. So as we mentioned in analysis, there are 5 key takeaways: the competitive cost structure, and having rich expertise, and establishing the relationship with the clients as well as employees, and flexibility of the project to tailor your service based on the customer's needs, and also the transparent communication. So based on these key success factors, we assess those 3 options that we mentioned. So first option, layoff. We think that it is definitely help the competitive cost structure. However, we don't think that this option will help the other 4 factors. And option 2, negotiation, we think that it is effective for the cost, and also it is, you could take high quality of the communication with your clients. However, we don't think that will help to use your rich expertise, and also you don't have the flexibility, and you cannot maintain as good relationship with the clients as before. And option 3, we think that this is obviously helping you to reduce the cost by doing the job sharing, and you could use the rich expertise because you will keep all the employees and all the knowledge is maintained, and you could keep the relationship with the clients by putting all the effort to complete the project, while also keeping the relationship with your employees by not laying off, and also you could have the high quality of communication. Therefore, based on those criteria, we think that the third option, job sharing with the knowledge management system development, is the best that you could take. So in order to do the knowledge management, this is the current situation that we understand for your company. So you don't have the no smartphone policy, and you have attempted to save on the OneDrive, but it was not working because not many of your employees are familiar with using this system. And also, 95% are using the local hardware, so it is critical for you that to create the incentive for employee to actually do the knowledge management, because even though you create the system, you can't, if no one is using it, the investment for knowledge management is not worth it. And also 6% is using phone for the business purpose. So they are really comfortable using the phones for the work, especially for those who are working in the international. So you provide us the 3 options of the vendors for the knowledge management. One is Quip, and the second is Bloomfire, and the third one is Looken. And the first one is, the benefit is that it is a comprehensive system, and the employees don't require to use the email because that system has their own email and a chat function. And also, Quip can be used from anywhere in the world by your phone. And the Bloomfire, the benefit is that you can upload and manage all the type of the contents. This is the main feature. And also, it has a strong search engine, as well as it has the filter to analyze your emails. And the third option is Looken. The benefits are that this is the strongest email organizer if you prefer to use email, and it has the easy to use filters as to scan the emails, and it also has a real-time index. So those are the benefits of 3 options. Because your employees are really comfortable using the phones, and also we understand that it is usually hard and you experience that it's hard to force employees to use the system. We think that the first option is really the suitable option. So as we mentioned, our recommendation is the knowledge management system development, job sharing, and the project prioritization of focusing on delayed project after the job sharing.
Now that we've looked into our alternatives and our vendors, we'll give you an idea of our implementation plan. Our first phase is planning phase, in which we'll be planning the job sharing program that would help managing the work and that would enable us to not fire any employees. With that, we'll have meetings with our vendors, which would be Quip. This would include setting up goals and cost structure. This is also followed by hiring contractors, as it is a time, there's a time limitation, and contractors do possess great knowledge in their field of expertise. The cost, the cost for planning job sharing program is $15,000, followed by $5K for meetings and almost $600K for hiring the contractors. One key risk is resistance from employees due to salary cut. As we'll be paying half the salary to the employees, we're expecting resistance, but this can be mitigated as the senior management would be involved in discussions and we'll tell the employees about the situation at hand and the initiative that you guys are taking for them. Second would be failure to achieve timeline goal. What if we don't achieve timeline goal that's been provided to us by the vendor? This is mitigated by the contractors as they possess specialized knowledge on the subject matters. Second is our planning, planning phase for the project. Here we implement our job sharing program, followed by, this is for our second process, we are actually starting the planning and development phase of our knowledge management system. This would be done with the help of contractors as well as our vendors. And here we'll be developing all the things that were discussed in the planning phase. Also followed by job sharing program, which involved 43 senior management people and 42 associate contractors. This would also include weekly meetings with the HR that would ensure knowledge being recorded, as long as, since we don't have a knowledge management system in place. And for our last phase is the testing and launch. We'll be relocating the employees back into their original positions, because now that we have money from the project that we completed earlier, this would also be followed by testing. We're going for a phased testing strategy, as we'll be focusing on the projects that were delayed for minimum impact and risk. Once alpha test is completed, we'll be implementing our knowledge management system throughout the organization. And once we have the quality assurance done, we'll be launching our knowledge management system into the organization. Once our knowledge management system is implemented, we'll have stronger relationship with not only our client but also our employees. There will be a positive brand image since we didn't fire any employees. We will have extra cash at hand, and we'll have more project completions, followed by retained knowledge and a competitive advantage, which is your highly skilled, highly knowledgeable employees. Thank you for this. We would like to open floor for further questions. Thank you.
How do we do for time?
Sorry.
I'll start. You use the word cash a lot, so let's see your financials, please. I'd like to understand how you plan to do phase 1, 2, 3. meaning you're spending money.
Yeah.
When we're gonna run out of money in 2 months, how are you gonna accommodate those two things?
So for the exact number, we are happy to further consult with if you could provide us the detailed financial statement. However, as we calculated in the implementation, we had the cost for the implementation, and also our assumption is that although we do not have the exact number from you, because you did acquisition with the 30 million for the JHP, so we think your company's current worth is around you are the multi-million company. So we consider that if you implement the job sharing, and as we calculated, if you do not do the job sharing, the salary is in 1,000, and these numbers are the annual salaries for those three type of the positions. And if you do the job sharing, we simply did in half, and those two, senior manager and the consultant and associates, will be hired for 4 months, while the contractor will be hired for 8 months, and these are the salaries for those people if you implement the job sharing. So we think that with this, and considering the size of your company, we think that our implementation is feasible.
I'll ask one. So, a couple questions. So one, what is your international rollout plan? I'm assuming that you will be wanting everyone across the different countries to use the same system.
Thank you for your question. So we are doing our phase implementation by by location. So by project status. So the ones that are delayed, which is in 2 countries, one in Canada and one in South America. We found that since those projects are delayed, we can take that opportunity to implement our system there at phase 1, so that if there is any problem within the knowledge management system, we can rectify it as soon as possible without impacting the ongoing business. So we've done it by project status than by location.
Okay, so you're taking the first 2, and how long is that? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, so that would take around 4 to 6 months.
And then you're replicating the same thing with the
Yes,
more
so that's the development phase. The testing phase is 3 months.
And then what was that $5 million for testing this one?
That is just for backup support from the vendors. It includes it has multiple aspects. It is backup support from vendors, further resources that the company may want and require. We've kept it as miscellaneous.
Oh,
I'm sure. With the job sharing, there's obviously going to be some resistance from the senior managers, and I think even some might decide to move on to a new job, seeing as they might not be able to support themselves on kind of half the salary. So how are you going to retain the knowledge for anyone that might kind of decide to quit as a result of this?
With the uncertainty that some senior managers may leave, there is unaccounted knowledge with that. Unfortunately, if they do decide to leave, we are going to have to try and allocate all the resources that they possibly had on company-provided resources such as company phones or anything like that. And with that, within the 2 weeks that the time frame was given, we would try to give them incentives as much as possible to share that knowledge with other senior managers and people that do decide to stay. To further add on to my colleague, for the duration, we don't have a knowledge management system. In our implementation, we have mentioned that we'll have weekly meetings with the human resources team that would take interviews and have conversations regarding their work. And until the knowledge management system has not been implemented, we'll be recording knowledge via those interviews and questions. Does that answer your questions?
Could you please go back to the problem identification slide? Very beginning.
so the reason, that's why we're looking for a vendor that provides us with the flexibility of using not only our laptops, but also phones. And with constant communication, data privacy is a metric that we have in mind during our discussions with our vendors. And you will be communicating that to them, which will ensure there's data privacy as well as data protection.
Okay. Do you have kind of a rollout idea of once you choose that vendor to go with, how that change management is going to happen?
As mentioned in our implementation plan, it will be happening in stages. So first we do, like any project, we'll be planning, we'll be setting up goals, we'll be developing them. Once we have our product developed, we'll be testing them via our phased implementation. And this is kind of rolled out into via project status. The ones that are active will be implemented later on. The ones that we have.
This is the end of the Q&A period. Thank you for the presentation.